All right, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We have a pretty fun show planned for today. We have the 6 Brewer games from the last week to discuss, but we also have the first part of our Milwaukee Bucks offseason coverage today called Giannis Isn't Getting Traded, but so we're going to hit the intro and get started with some baseball.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so as I said, six baseball games for the Brewers in the last week, starting with the series against the Rays. Now, both series went 2 losses and a win. So starting with the Rays series, let's go to game 1. Connor, welcome back. Start with game 1. What were your takeaways from last Friday's game?
Yeah, so we had Jose Quintana on the mound, and when Jose Quintana is on the mound, the Brewers are coming off of a win against the Astros. But then you go into this game and you're like, all right, the Brewers have struggled on the road this year. The offense has been kind of up and down. Obviously, we're going to have a discussion about the offense over the last week anyways right now. We'll get into that later, but you're thinking, okay, Quintana's on the mound, a Rays team that, isn't absolutely hitting the cover off the baseball. You feel pretty good. He goes 5 1/3, gives up 5 hits, 1 earned run, and 3 Ks, and you're like, okay, that's pretty good. I mean, the 2 walks, walks just kill you, man. I just got to say, walks just kill you. It doesn't matter what your name is as starting pitcher. Doesn't matter your awards as starting pitcher. Walks kill you, and you got to make people earn it when they get on base. And Quintana giving up those 2 walks ended up hurting him a little bit, but Nick Mears, this is going to be the guy this year. We run out of superlatives to explain this guy because he's just fucking good, dude. Like, just to be frank about it, he's just fucking good. They showed his stats today during the game when he entered today's game, and it was impressive. I was like, holy hell, dude, this guy is just a baller. I actually texted you yesterday when he entered the game yesterday, and I was like, this guy looks like a Brewer, dude. Like, the stash, bro, like the hair, just for some reason, he looks and feels like a Brewer. He was very good again in his 2/3 innings pitch, coming to save the day for Quintana. Grant Anderson, though, that guy needs a little bit more respect. I think he can deserve a little bit longer leash, in my opinion. He's been good this season.
Let's put a pin in him too, because I have words.
Yeah, a guy that's kind of starting to teeter a little bit. He was dominant, but Koenig is I think they're pulling his leash in a little bit. He is starting to teeter. You can tell when how the coach is kind of coaching, man, of how they feel about you. And he's kind of getting pulled a little bit earlier than he was last year at this time, especially. But 2 hits, 1 earned run, and 2 Ks in his 2/3 innings pitch. Piamps comes in for Koenig and ends up getting an out necessary, but in terms of scoring, got to talk about the man of the week, the man of the last 2 weeks, and that's Rhys Hoskins, dude. Another 2-out RBI for this guy. He had a single to left in the 8th inning that ended up scoring Terang to tie the game at 3-3. Should have never been tied 3-3, but we'll have a discussion about that as well. Durbin grounded out, got an RBI. He grounded out the second. Contreras, he scored on the ground out the second, but he got on base from a walk. Yelly got on base from a single, and Frelick got on base from catcher interference. So you're talking about baseball, those little things that kind of add up, and the Brewers do those little things well. The thing that they're not doing well right now is hitting the ball over the fence. That is literally the only thing missing from last year. You add in a little bit more hard hit contact, lifting the ball a little bit more. They're rolling over everything right now. That's really what the offense is. And then Contreras had a guy in the 1st inning. Churio scored on that, but he got on base from an infield single. So you're talking about the Brewers scoring from Terang walking, Contreras getting on base in the 4th from a walk, and Churio getting on base from an infield single. So those are the little things that I'm saying. The Brewers still do the little things right, which is why when I was texting you a couple days, was that last night or 2 days ago? I don't remember at this point, but I was texting. I was like, dude, the Brewers are close. They're still doing a lot of the right things. And that's why Pat Murphy has said some of the things that he said, in my opinion, where he doesn't feel like they are far off. Yeah. And I agree. I think
not a lot of panic when anybody.
Yeah, there shouldn't be. They just got to hit the ball over the fence a little bit. and we'll have a discussion about today.
Yeah.
But everything in total, I think the Brewers, even though the losses are more than the wins over this last week, my thoughts are this is still a really good baseball team that could still go on the run during the dog days of summer. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, and with the game, this was before the game. The Brewers equipment department, they were talking about the special gloves that they made for William Contreras to help him deal with the broken finger that he's playing with, or the fractured finger that he's playing with. So that was kind of neat. But like you said, Jose Quintana pitched well. He reached his 2,000 career strikeouts milestone, which was cool. Sorry, 2,000 innings strikeouts, not strikeouts. I wrote 2K, and then I read it as strikeouts, not 2,000. So 2,000 innings milestone. He was locating well, and I think he was let down by the defense a bit. You look at 3 of the runs that the Rays ended up scoring came directly from bad defense. And 2 of those 3 unearned runs got put on Jose Quintana. That said, the dude was just out there painting corners. He finished 5 1/3, had 1 earned run. That should be good enough to get you some wins. Now, you mentioned some pop. I think Caleb Durbin has a little bit. He showed some. He hit some really, really deep foul balls. Hit one completely out of the stadium, but just foul. And then had a deep fly out in the 8th inning. So I think Caleb Durbin has some pop, and I think with playing time, it should show more. And then, like you said, Nick Mears, that guy deserves every bit of leverage that Pat Murphy will give him.
Yeah, I agree.
Came into this game with runners on the corners and 1 out, got a strikeout, and then an obstruction call, which is the rule is so fucked.
Dude,
it's so bad. It's so wildly inconsistent, except if you're the Milwaukee Brewers. It's consistently called the opposite way of the Brewers' favor.
Do you know what it feels like to me? It feels like when they used to try to clarify what a catch was in the NFL, probably about 10 years ago at this point, maybe more than 10 years ago. I'm getting pretty old. But you know how junky it was and how people could misinterpret it in so many different ways, the catch rule. That's how I feel. Have you read the rule? I went back and I read the rule and I was like, I don't know what I just read. I don't know what they're even talking about at this point.
No, yeah. Nobody knows what catches are. Nobody knows what obstruction is. Nobody knows what a charge or a block is.
Those are probably the 3 major calls in all the major sports right now. The top 3.
At this point, just assume that it's going to go against the Brewers.
Yeah.
Or when it should be called for the Brewers, it doesn't. We'll get to that today, Connor. Trust me.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, with Koenig, and we're going to talk about him from today's game as well, too, but he got ahead of multiple batters that ended up reaching base. He was ahead 1-2, allowed a single. He was ahead 0-2 and came back and allowed a walk. I mean, the 2 out base runners and just getting ahead of guys, you got to finish. You got to finish at bats. So I have thoughts when we get to today's game, but going into the second game of the Rays series, Tobias Myers was done after 4 innings. His command wasn't the best in the 4th inning. Also potentially a factor, not wanting to expose a guy who's 2 starts back from being on a long rehab, not wanting to expose him to the elements. Planning on having anybody pitching in the 5th. It was annoying as hell that Tyler Alexander threw 7 pitches before they called for the delay when it was just pouring.
Yeah.
Alexander shouldn't have even had to throw those 7 pitches and then try to go back out and keep pitching. So either way, Myers was probably going to be done after those 4 innings anyways. But my favorite part of this game was the bottom of the 6th inning when Abner Uribe came in and just throwing disgusting sliders.
Dude, he's so good.
Absolutely nasty sliders. Got 2 strikeouts looking with his slider. If he is locating his off-speed stuff for strikes, look the fuck out. Abner Uribe is going to be extremely good. He's going to be all of the embodiment of the potential that we've been talking about with him for the last year and a half or so. So if that continues to be the case with Abner Uribe, he's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, then you get to a situation where you have Mears, who's a stud. We honestly might be the only people talking about how good the bullpen is with Nick Mears, especially. If Uribe, hits the potential like you're talking about, the 2Ks were absolutely gross. I agree with you. if Koenig can find it, we have Brian Anderson who can get on track. Piamps can get on track. McGill.
Right.
I mean, the Brewers bullpen can still be a huge strength. Obviously, we need the starters to eat up a little bit more innings.
Mm-hmm.
Having Myers go 4 innings isn't really ideal for the bullpen as much as they've been used. But I digress.
With Tyler Alexander, I mean, he kind of gave you a little bit of that long relief, and Grant Anderson has had times where he's pitched a little bit more than a full inning. And this game, after the game, I texted you because Grant Anderson allowed a single. Then a guy got caught stealing by the best catcher in baseball, William Contreras. And then another base runner with a walk, and Trevor McGill gets brought in with 2 outs. And the guy that walked steals second base, and then a single and an error, and that's the game. Yep. I said to you, I wish Murph would have stuck with Grant Anderson in the 9th. I said last week that he's earned some leverage. So not a lot of people are talking about Grant Anderson. I just want to throw out there that I called him a diamond in the rough last week when talking about the differences between Grant Anderson and Elvin Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So Grant Anderson, he's been that dude so far this year. He's been a diamond in the rough find. That said, can't expect a lot of wins on 2 runs. The biggest missed opportunity was the top of the 9th. They had bases loaded with 1 out. Missed the opportunity for some insurance runs with a pop out and a fly out with bases loaded and 1 out. Pat Murphy did say post game that Grant Anderson was only available for a few hitters, so 2 guys reaching against him, the single and the walk, ended up becoming a factor. So I know I'm not expecting Grant Anderson to go 1-2-3 against everybody, but he could have potentially, saved the Brewers a win with getting a 1-2-3 inning in that situation. But in the future, if his availability is there, I would like to see Grant Anderson be able to try to finish that game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the flip side of that, I mean, the guy that he got pulled out for, Janikowski, who had the game when he hit, was the 8-hole hitter. And I know that doesn't really mean much anymore, but like you're still kind of putting a guy in the 8-hole for a reason. So after you said that, I took a step back and I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, that's absolutely correct. I wish that he would have left him in there a little bit longer too. Grant Anderson's been really good. I understand it's a high leverage situation. The Brewers are kind of in a delicate spot, in the situation they were in, but I just really thought that, maybe Murph he's trying to fix too many problems at once. I think maybe the stress is weighing on him a little bit. Maybe he's over managing a little bit. I think the thing that we appreciated about him last year was that we were going from a guy in Counsell who, and this is no shade to Counsell. Counsell's a really good manager. He understands all the ins and outs of baseball. He's really analytical, and like he's really like in tune with all that stuff, all the analytics, all the numbers. He's really good with that stuff. And it was a mindset shift going to Pat Murphy, where he was a little bit more laid back. He was the cool kind of grandpa guy, like, and I don't mean grandpa is like a bad term either, but like it was just kind of a different mindset. So like maybe his attitude has changed a little bit and he's stressing out a little bit, which kind of could be weighing on the team in some ways. But, like you said, you're not really going to win a lot of baseball games going 2 runs. But I do have to say, thank God Joey Ortiz got the monkey off his back. Dude, I was so happy for him. And I'm happy that, it tied the game. So it was a big-time homer, in the 5th inning.
He snuck it right inside the foul pole.
Snuck it right in. He barely made it out. It was only 334 feet. So, he barely made it out.
Right in there. Would have cleared the fence by 30 feet at Yankee Stadium, but.
Yeah, right. He needed that so bad, dude. I feel like Brewers fans needed that, but Joey Ortiz, like overall as a person, needed that shit. So like I was so happy. I was like, honestly, I thought I was more happy for Joey than I was for the game being tied, because the mental stress that he has to be going through.
Sure.
To be able to go into work every single day, even though you're struggling. Like if I ruin something at my job, I feel bad about it for hours, dude.
Right.
So I'm like, dude, like I always have this attitude, not my money, not my stuff, blah, blah, blah. They're still paying me to do something.
Right.
So like I have a conscience, so I feel bad. Can you imagine like
hundreds of thousands of people that care about how good you're doing at your job?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you got thousands of people watching you, and then you got like in the stadium, then you got hundreds of thousands watching on a television. Like that's got to be tough, dude. mindset to be able to go to work every single day with a smile on your face. Like, that's why we say stuff like people matter. That's why that shit matters.
Yeah.
And we can have this discussion. I'm sure we'll have a discussion about the Packers in the offseason, but I have some thoughts on all the stuff that's kind of swirling with the wide receiver room and Elton Jenkins.
We'll have a conversation.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I have some thoughts on that as well, but that's why the people matter. So I was just really happy for Joey Ortiz. I know that it wasn't the result that we all wanted, but you're not going to win them all.
Connor, we'll talk about that subject in between. We'll talk about Yelich in between the two series. Let's go to game 3 from the Rays. What stood up to you from the W that they got?
Okay, yeah. So Brewers win 4-2, and Chad Patrick is on the mound. And Chad Patrick has been a topic of discussion for the Brewers fans, I should say. And the fans control a lot of the narratives. So if you're one of those fans that's just super negative, I implore you to come to our show because we're going to help you shift your perspective, first of all. So 4 1/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks. I thought overall he was fine. In terms of first pitch strikes, he was 15 out of 21. So he did a really, really nice job getting ahead of people, I thought. And I think for these guys that, I think for every starting pitcher, that's a good thing to get ahead because, then you're in an advantageous situation. And that's a good thing for you, especially a guy like Chad Patrick, who has had problems with walks at times. He still had 2 in this game, but he was pulled after 4 1/3. Tyler Alexander, we just talked about him. You just talked about him going over an inning at times, and he did in this game as well, inning and 2/3, and all zeros across the board. So people got up there and he got him out. He did his damn job, dude.
Yeah.
And in this era of highlights that we live in with YouTube Shorts and Spotlight on Snapchat, all that kind of stuff, Tyler Alexander is not going to be a guy that people are going to be making highlight videos about. So people are going to be like, "Oh, he sucks." At least a lot of the younger demographic.
Except for the one hit that he had, I think it was against Cincinnati, where he had one hit right back at him. And
yeah.
That'll be on highlight reels. But somebody's like, Alexander, who the hell is that guy?
That's exactly what it's going to be.
10 years from now, nobody's going to remember who he is. But he's pitching well right now.
Yeah, he's pitching well right now. Uribe got his 10th hole of the year, which is tied for 5th in all the major leagues. So that's very good. Payam's got his 2nd hold, only giving up 1 hit in his inning of work. So don't look now, but Payam's is starting to turn it around. I mean, I know we've been mentioning this for a couple of weeks, but he's starting to turn around a little bit. He's looked pretty good for a while now.
It's almost like one really bad outing in April can make your stats really misleading.
Weird.
I wonder who might have said stuff like that.
Trevor McGill in his inning ended up getting his 5th save of the year, 1K in his inning. Yelly with a home run, Contreras with a home run. They went back-to-back, so that's nice to see. We can have a discussion about Yelly if you would like to. I'll let you go first. But Durbin and Hoskins also got in on the RBI parade that the Brewers had, scoring 4 runs. They moved to 16 and 5.
Well, they were 17 and 5 after that one. They were 16 and 5 going into that one.
So 17 and 5 when scoring at least 4 runs, which is like, I was just having this discussion with my coworker, like literally like 10 minutes before I left work, and I'm like, all I'm asking you to do, and he didn't know the number. I know me and you know it because we pay attention to that stuff.
Yep.
Because I literally texted that to you, and you're like, I wrote that in my notebook as well. And it's like, all I'm asking you to do is score 4. I'm not asking you to score 10 or 8. I'm just asking you to score 4. You score 4. You guys are fucking dominant, dude.
Yeah.
17 and 5 is dominant.
Yeah.
That's silly how good our pitching is with all the injuries we have. That's what that tells me.
There's other stats too, in addition to the 4 runs, but this one, the Brewers going into this game were the last team in Major League Baseball to win a game when their opponent scores first. They were 0-13 when their opponent scores first. This was their first win in 14 tries when their opponent scored first. Also, the Brewers, the defense was there. Mm-hmm. We got twice in this series. Chandler Simpson, like one of the fastest dudes in baseball, turned double plays on him. The second one that came in game 3 of the Rays series was in the 7th inning, followed by a Bryce Terang web gem. So that was an awesome inning of baseball. Seeing Abner Uribe's reaction to Bryce Durang going up and snagging a ball out of the air was
nasty.
That was awesome.
That was nasty.
So the defense was there. The defense in the 7th and in the 8th inning as well. Payamps gave up that single. Then he got the ground ball, and Joey Ortiz flips the ball to Bryce Durang, who barehands the relay throw and throws the runner out. That's the kind of when people are talking about the Brewers playing with confidence, playing with some swagger, playing with some fire. That's the kind of stuff. Like, play loose, play aloof. That's what a lot of young players kind of thrive on. Because then when you start getting tense and like trying not to make mistakes and thinking about not making mistakes, that's when you make mistakes.
True.
So that. Other than that, Patrick did get some strikeouts, but also allowed some loud contact early. And then in the 4th and the 5th innings, he gave up several 2-strike hits. And I think that, again, led to him being pulled. And we talked about this last week, too, when he had 2 starts. Just making sure that they're keeping an eye on him, maybe pulling him a batter or 2 early as opposed to a batter or 2 late. That 5th inning kind of area is where his issues kind of start. So if Patrick can give you 5, I'm good with that. Days that he can give you more, great. I'm going to have similar thoughts when we talk about Quinn Priester when we get to the Guardians series. But Connor posed the question. We can talk about it when you want, but the Yelich hate is getting loud again. I don't think people realize he hasn't seen live pitching since the All-Star game. We still see some power from him. So I'm just gonna put Yelich's stats on the screen quick. So Christian Yelich currently tied for the Brewers lead with 7 home runs. 16 fewer hits than the player he's tied with. You're talking about a home run percentage that is over 1/5 of his hits are home runs. He has 11 extra base hits in 32 at-bats. So you're talking about 1 in 3 of his hits are extra bases, and 1 in 5 of his hits are home runs. He's going to be fine.
And he has 20 walks.
And he was leading the National League in batting average before he got injured last year.
Yep.
It is May 14th. He is going to be fine.
Yep, I agree.
Because like I said, while his average is low, his hitting numbers are great.
He'll be fine.
He's going to be fine. So, that said, moving on to the Guardians series that started Monday and went through today. Let's go to Brewers Guardians Game 1. What's out to you from Monday's game?
This one hurts. This one hurts. Damn it. All right, so Freddie Peralta on the mound, and 5 1/3, 4 hits, 4 earned runs. That should not all be on him.
Yep.
3 walks and 4 Ks. Brian Hudson went an inning and a third, had 3 walks and a K. He's gonna try to get the command back here. Obviously,
he's still having trouble locating a sweeper for strikes.
He'll be once he figures that out, he'll be fine too. I trust him to figure it out. Elvis Baguero, welcome back to the Brewers. Pitched an inning, gave up a hit, and had 2 Ks. Honestly, between Hudson and Baguero, I don't have a preference who is good. One of you just be good. One of you just be good while wearing a Brewers jersey. I don't give a shit. I like both of them.
Have the stuff to be good. Like Baguero's sinker and slider, awesome.
Yeah, I like both
Hudson
of them.
Has like top 3 in all of baseball extension because of his size.
Yeah.
So like he's got the stuff. He was a borderline all-star last year.
Yep.
There's obviously still potential there.
And he's a lefty, and with Koenig kind of struggling a little bit, I guess now that I kind of take a step back and think about it, I probably pick Hudson to be better because we do need a good lefty arm out of the bullpen. But we'll figure that out. Although I should give some, I was giving respect to Alexander because he's been pretty good. So lefty. So with that being said, I'm gonna say this in the calmest way possible. Yes, Choyo misplayed a baseball. He had an error. He is 21 years old.
Yeah. And he's played, 15 games in center field?
Yeah. He's going to be fine. We're going to go through growing pains. Yeah. I don't know if people remember what it's. Do people not understand what it's like to actually make young players good? We went through this all Bucks season and talked about Doc not playing young guys. Well, you have to deal with growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make mistakes.
Oh, the Brewers are young everywhere, too.
Yes, and just because he has potential, and he has untapped potential, we don't even know what the top of his potential is.
It's,
to be completely honest with you.
If you ask us on May 14th, 2025, it's MVP. You ask us on May 14th, 2027, maybe he's in the GOAT convo. Like, we don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no ceiling for him right now, but that also comes with, like you said, it comes with mistakes.
He's going to make mistakes.
Yeah, you have to be able to take it in stride.
I mean, you just go back a couple of years ago when, Terang was basically a liability at the plate, but you have to let him get those at-bats.
Yep.
You're just going to have to wear it. He always had the defense, and Terang has consistently gotten a little bit better on defense as well, but the bat is now catching up, although he is in a slump right now in real life. But he'll come back. I mean, he was sick for a week there. They gave him some extra days off, and he's going to be just fine as well, I think. But, the thing with Chourio, and yes, they are giving him signs to take pitches on purpose now. They're forcing him to take pitches. Even if it's a 0-1 count, they're forcing him to take a damn pitch.
Yeah, he does not see a single pitch that he does not want to swing at.
Yeah, and they're telling him, like, you're gonna sit this one out, buddy.
They're like, put the rake down.
Yeah. Kind of protecting him from himself, and this is part of coaching a young, talented guy.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to put that out in the universe because I know that everybody's gonna think about this game and be like, "Wow, Chourio blew it for us." Yes. Did we lose because of that? Part of it. That is a big part of it.
Yes.
But the Brewers also didn't help themselves in the base pass. They didn't get the hit. They struggled this last week getting the hit that they needed to get. They would get a guy on base.
On it when we get to today's game.
Yeah. And they struggled to get the hit that they needed to get, and that's just sometimes it's just the way it goes, man. Although I will say Chourio did get another walk in this game, so that is noteworthy.
The 3 runs that scored off of the missed fly ball, it had a baseball savant will tell you it had a 95% catch probability. And again, we talked about this last year when Chourio was playing left field and he's playing in ballparks he's never played in before.
Yep.
Now again, playing in an unfamiliar ballpark and an unfamiliar position. Not all outfield positions are the same. When you're in left field, you have a guy next to you and you have the foul line. When you're in center field, you have guys on either side of you and obviously deeper fences.
Yeah, more field to cover.
And you have to be essentially the quarterback, the shortstop of the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more to it. It's not just, he's an outfielder. It's all the same, because it's not. It's not all the same.
Yeah.
That said, the wild pitch and stolen base before a bloop single that allowed a 4th run to score, and then a bases loaded walk allowed a 5th run to score.
Yep.
Not to mention that the Brewers were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position and scored 0 runs themselves.
Yeah.
So Chourio could have made that catch, turned it into a sac fly, only scored 1 run off of it, and the Brewers still could have lost 3-0.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay to play the blame game. It doesn't pay to be like, Chourio cost us this game. Like, it doesn't pay. The Brewers as a team lost the game.
Yep.
That's all there is. Move on, play better the next day.
Yep.
Now, Caleb Durbin was 0 for 2 in this game. He was 2 of the 6 of the 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. He had a fielder's choice and a pop-out both to the shortstop. Jake, you had an idea that I support, and it's calling the Red Sox about Rafael Devers.
Dude, they're going to get a power bat.
I'm interested because not only that, the Red Sox have asked him to play first base, and he doesn't want to. He wants to play shortstop and third base.
Yep.
So you can bring him in, let him pick which one he wants, and you can rotate Ortiz and Durbin at the other one.
Yeah.
So I'm on board with you.
Honestly,
doing that.
If Devers is okay at playing okay to play just like shortstop, I would be perfectly fine just throwing Joey Ortiz back at third base, honestly.
Me too.
I think he was a little bit more comfortable there. Maybe it could be a thing where he's just more comfortable in the hot corner, and his defense is still elite, and that's a spot where you need good defense.
I'm good with either one.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now I want to give credit to Sal Frelick, his defense in the second inning. First, he cut off a ball in the gap and made a good throw to limit Manzardo to a single. The next batter, he made a diving catch. So shout out Sal Frelick for playing Gold Glove level defense in the second inning.
Right.
You talked about Freddie Peralta, the first 1-out walk that he gave, and a 2-out walk came back to hurt him. Those were 2 of the 3 runs that scored on the Jackson Churio missed play on the double. He did finish with the 5 1/3 innings.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing, I heard this because I listened to the beginning of this game on the radio. We talked about Stephen Kwan before and our respect for him. He started his career by going 116 pitches without swinging and missing.
Jesus Christ.
116.
That's pretty impressive, honestly.
Dude, that's like Ichiro level stuff. That's insane to start your career by seeing 116 pitches and not swinging and missing at any of them.
Wow.
That's wild.
Good for him.
Yeah, it stuck out as interesting, and I wanted to give him a shout out for it.
Yeah.
What a last night's game. And Quinn Priester had another pretty good outing. 2
pretty
good outings in a row. It's very encouraging, actually. He was used twice through the order. That's basically what they said they were going to limit him. And in doing so, he was able to go 5 innings pitch. Only run that he allowed was a bad 3-1 pitch to Jose Ramirez, of all people, who put it in the seats. But
not the guy to make a bad pitch to. Just
not the guy to give a 3-1 middle fastball to.
Yeah.
But that was the only run that he gave up in the 5 innings. He had 3 hits, 2 walks. Again, if the Brewers as a staff can get their walks down, they'll give up fewer runs because a lot of them are coming back to bite. I don't know if I can find the percentage of walks that end up scoring. I'd have to look and see if that's an available tracked stat somewhere, or if I'd have to actually go game by game and figure it out. Also had 3 strikeouts, the only earned run, and 69 pitches. Nice.
Dude, I wrote that down too. Damn it. I wrote that down too because I was like, noteworthy.
Couldn't help it. So the Brewers as a team only had 3 hits. Jackson Churio had 2 of them, and another questionable play on a fly ball. Diving it's a tough situation because you have to be able to know the scenarios. And again, like you said with Terang, it's an experience thing. It sucks because obviously it leads to runs for the other team.
Yep.
But if 2 years from now Christian Yelich retires when his contract ends, and if Garrett Mitchell or Sal Frelick aren't playing center field, and you want Jackson Churio to be your center fielder for the next decade, he's going to be better for having gone through a couple of growing pains in 2025.
Yep.
So that's where we're at with Jackson Churio. If you wanted to play Sal Frelick in center and put Churio in right or left, I would be fine with that. But I don't see anything wrong with leaving Churio in center. Like, honestly, I'm okay if you make a switch, but I don't feel like it's something that Pat Murphy has to do.
Honest to God, when the situation happened tonight, it just really made me appreciate Blake Berkins more.
That's fair.
The guy is fucking good on defense, dude. He saved a lot of runs for the Brewers last year.
Yeah.
Like, he gets such a good jump off the ball. We talked about that for the last couple of years. I mean, when is he scheduled to come back, by the way?
He's maybe going to be rehabbing towards the end of May. He's on the 60-day injured list, so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, be nice to get his defense good too.
Yeah. And Garrett Mitchell hopefully is back soon. I don't know when his 10 days ends, but it's got to be soon. Brewers had 10 strikeouts and a walk on a day where the Cleveland starter only threw 59% first pitch strikes. That's low when you're talking about first pitch strikes. Guys just got to be a little bit patient. Only 64% of the pitches that the Guardian starter threw were strikes. And the Brewers had 10 Ks to 1 walk. You gotta change that ratio up a little bit. Justin, we appreciate it. That's really all I had from last night. I did not have a lot of takeaways from last night, but I have a lot from today.
So I have a few things. Churio, yes, he did make the mishap in center field, but he also had 2 steals, so he's up to 8 now. So good for him. Hopefully he can keep getting on base and keep wrecking havoc. It's good that they're making him take pitches, as I mentioned earlier. Make him be a little bit more patient. Make him see pitches so he can start recognizing spin and stuff. You know, I was kind of joking when I said it before, but like there is a positive.
Not really.
Yeah. After this game, the Brewers, in the series were 0 for 11, runners in scoring position. So they're just struggling in that area. It happens sometimes. I do agree on Priester having a good outing. If I could nitpick something, to ground balls to flyouts, he had 4 groundouts to 5 flyouts. I would prefer the number of groundouts to be a little bit higher. So get the ball down a little bit. He does have, good slider, so he could, use that to get a little bit more groundouts, in my opinion. That's just me being nitpicky.
If we're gonna nitpick on that exact subject, I think it has to be based on his sinker more than his slider.
That's fair.
And the sinker being lower in the zone. He uses the slider. Like I looked at his illustrator, his sliders are almost all at the bottom of the zone, but his sinkers are kind of all over.
Okay.
So that's a pitch, if he's trying to do that intentionally to get some fly balls and not be just a ground ball pitcher, like that could be a next level thing for the pitching lab that they're having him do. But if that's not what their goal is, then I would say it's the sinker's got to be lower in the zone.
That's fair. I don't think, in Milwaukee, being a fly ball pitcher can bring a lot of success to some people.
One guy specifically.
That's fair. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the offense is just struggling. I mean, the bullpen's still doing their thing. I mean, the bullpen only gave up 1 earned run. Yes, it was Piamps, but not really Piamps in my opinion. Koenig, Uribe, Mears, Alexander, they all did their job. So I mean, just struggling in the runners in scoring position area, and that's just what it is, man.
Yeah, let's talk about today's game.
They didn't have like a big giant breakout inning like I was predicting yesterday, but I did text you yesterday, and I was like, dude, I just had a feeling in my gut, man, and I was like, dude, the Brewers are gonna break out. I was like, they're gonna have an inning where they score like 7 runs. Now they scored 9 runs total, which is a complete 180 compared to the 0 runs they scored the previous 2 games. So I mean, let's talk about it, right? I mean, Sal Frelick leading off, he gets a hit. Yelich gets a hit. Contreras with 3 hits and 4 runs scored, excuse me. You got Rhys Hoskins with 4 hits and 5 RBIs, including a home run and a walk. And what I texted you after he got a big time hit that scored some insurance runs, as I said, clearly the torpedo bat is working.
Yeah, good call.
So good for him. Jake Bowers, he's been on a heater, honestly.
I have notes on him too.
He's been on a heater lately. He got 2 hits. Isaac Collins got a hit in 1 at bat. Joey Ortiz got a hit. So, I mean, you got 13 hits. It was a goddamn hit parade. And finally, the guy who broke it open, and I texted this to you as well, I mean, Sal Frelick, his hit was a home run, and he goes in the dugout, and they were talking about it on the the cast. He just rifles his helmet into the ground. And he shows some emotion, and it's like, finally.
Yeah, he talked about that in the game. He was trying to fire the boys up.
Somebody on this team showed that they had a fucking backbone, dude. And it's like we don't get to hear the conversations behind closed doors. And they had a players meeting last night after last night's game, but they need a vocal leader, and that guy was Willie Adames. And you said you have some notes on that as well, because I texted you earlier today that I think that maybe they know that they messed up, because in a game like baseball, you need a guy who's gonna pick you up when you're struggling. He was there for Churio last year when he was struggling early in the year. I mean, there's an endless number of examples I can say about Willie Adames. So unless you guys got 3 hours, I'm not going to say every single example.
I mean, it's been Freddie Peralta at times.
Yep.
And today they talked about it extensively on the broadcast about the leader that Rhys Hoskins is.
Yeah, Rhys.
And it rubbed off, and it showed in Sal Frelick today.
People want to dog the Brewers for signing Rhys Hoskins because he's getting like $18 million. It's like, you guys complain that we don't sign anybody, and then when we sign somebody for $18 million, and you
The
fucking
pace that
complain
he's
about it.
on so far this year, he's absolutely worth it.
Dude, he's worth $28 million right now.
Dude, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up on Fangraphs and see what Fangraphs says.
Like the way that he's been playing, like he is the highest average player on the Brewers right now. Highest batting average on the Brewers right now. 292. Second is looks like Bryce Turang at 289. I mean, that's he's the most valuable player on the Brewers right now for the last couple of weeks. So got that going for him. Now we're gonna talk pitching. We're gonna talk Logan Henderson. This kid is good. There's a reason that he flew up through the ranks, and he was really fucking good with it. I was listening on the radio for most of the game, but every time that they'd be calling pitches and stuff, they're like, "And that's a strike. He's got a fastball up in the zone." So the image that I got in my head from listening to the radio is he threw really good fastballs up in the zone. He was commanding it well.
Yeah,
and when you have off speed breaking stuff like he does, if you can get the fastball to control up in the zone, then that's when your stuff that's already good goes from good to devastating.
and his second best pitch is his changeup,
and it's really fucking good. So
if you have those two pitches, you can be effective.
Honestly, I have kind of a hot take on this. I don't feel like you could be a dominant pitcher in baseball without a good changeup. Honest to God, changeup is the best pitch in baseball.
There's something to that because, I mean, outside of relievers who can get by with just two pitches, but they're only an inning at a time. If you were to see an entire starting rotation or a starting lineup twice, as a starter, you need to have either variations of fastball or a changeup.
Yep.
But they were talking about that again today on the broadcast, the amount of emphasis that the pitching lab has put on changeups.
Yeah.
And the guy that I would bring up as the poster child for that is the fact that over the last 2 years, they've put a lot of effort into teaching Freddie Peralta to throw changeups.
Yeah.
He's the old man in the room as far as guys that were here, like Quintana and Cortez are obviously acquisitions, but Freddie's the old guy in the room when it comes to all the young guys on the roster. Yep. And they taught that medium old dog new tricks last year. So I think there's something to that when you bring it up that changeups are important.
Yeah. I've always kind of thought that the last couple of years, like changeup, because when you're hitting, they always talk about how much time you have. And then they always talk about, pitchers' arm angles and, how they have the hand on the ball and the spin on the ball. And the thing about the spin on the ball with a fastball and a fastball and a changeup is they have the same spin.
They look the same out of the hand.
They're like significantly less miles per hour, which is all you need for the timing to be off. So all you need is an eephus pitch and a knuckleball. Andrew, I'm telling you right now, every pitcher I made on MLB The Show had an eephus pitch, and it was dominant, dude, because it just goes up and it's like 50 miles an hour and it just drops down. It's like that's unrealistic, but it's fun.
And that's the thing with the changeup too. That's also the effect that a changeup that dives and some of them curve even in a little bit on the arm side, and you pair that with a fastball that stays really straight. That makes your fastball look like it goes like this.
Yeah, it looks like a
rise. You throw a fastball that has 0 inches of induced gravity. That's what makes your fastball look like it goes like this, and then it goes up. That's Freddie Peralta.
I was gonna say using Freddie as an example because his fastball is so damn dominant. Getting him a changeup just makes too much sense.
And he doesn't throw 98. He throws 94, 95, sometimes 96, 97.
Yeah.
So, he's not throwing all-world fastballs like Abner Uribe is.
But they look a little bit faster when he commands the off-speed stuff.
Exactly.
That's the thing about
That's pitching. The game we're playing.
Yep.
Did you have anything else from today?
Yeah, Nick Mears, good at baseball. Really good at baseball.
Solid mustache.
I hope he stays a Brewer for a long time. I'm literally starting to love this guy. Grant Anderson, really good, decent in his outing. Jared Koenig struggled a little bit today. Struggled.
Yeah, so this was my opinion with him. He should be the first guy out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Use him in the 5th, 6th. But we talked about this last week. Grant Anderson has earned some leverage, and Nick Mears, you put him in the 8th inning. You put him in the 6th inning with runners on the corners and 1 out. You put him in any situation, and he is thriving right now.
Yep. When I like to say, I text my dad all the time, and I like to tell my dad that Murphy hit the old fuck button when he brings in Mears. All of a sudden, shit gets real, and he's just like, oh, fuck. And it means, like, call Mears. There's, like, a button next to Mears. It's just like, I got to go in again, guys.
The button says, oh, fuck, and then it just has a mustache on it.
Right. That makes sense. Uribe got a hold off 1 pitch, so that was glorious.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Honest to God, dude, that's the funniest shit about baseball is, like, all of a sudden there's a pitching change, so they go to commercial. You're sitting there, for like 35 seconds. You're like, oh, man, it's getting kind of stressful now. It's a 7-5 game. Uribe throws 1 pitch, and it's like, all right, back to a commercial. What was I worried about?
Yeah, he's an advertiser's dream right there.
Fucking A, dude. Trevor McGill doesn't get a save in this one because the Brewers added on too many runs, but he comes in and gets the win when the Brewers absolutely needed to lock this one down and get a win. I got a little bit worried when Ramirez homered in the 8th inning. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, the dude's good at baseball.
I was like, Jesus. I was like, I don't want to see this guy for another year again, so I'm good on that. But
unless he's wearing a Brewers uniform, but that's not
dude. The thought crossed my mind. I was like, dog, can you imagine? Like, they're pretty good right now. They would have to start losing a little bit, but
they'd have to start losing a lot.
Yeah, 25 and 18, and their division's pretty good though. The Twins are on fire right now. Tigers are pretty good. So
Royals aren't awful.
That's fair. So
and then there's
never know.
Then there's the White Sox.
Yeah, I totally forgot they were in the division, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, they probably wish they could forget that they're in that division.
Yeah, but the Pope is a White Sox fan, so now the White Sox are going to be good.
Yeah, whatever. That's not happening.
That's what the internet told me.
The thing that started with this game, like watching the first 4 innings or so, the Brewers were getting rung up on a couple inside pitches to right-handed batters that the Brewers pitchers then were not getting the same strike call. I was getting a little salty when this game was still close earlier in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, you mentioned it, Logan Henderson was really good. His 2 starts combined 11 innings, 7 hits. It's a little high. Not terrible, but 3 earned runs, 16 strikeouts to 2 walks.
Yeah, and both home runs he gave up were the left-handed hitter, so there's something to that too.
Touche. To go 16 Ks and 2 walks in your 11 innings, that is excellent.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love that. If a guy gives you 8 strikeouts and 1 walk every time he pitches in 5.5 innings, awesome.
Count me in.
Hear this. Logan Henderson probably going to get sent back down to AAA at some point in the next couple weeks. Probably going to happen.
Yep.
Because he's young. He's got options. Now, don't freak out when it happens. He's going to be back. Same with Elias Myers. Like, by sending him down, they weren't doing him dirty.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Managing a roster.
Yeah.
That's how the game works, and he's back before he would have even made a start in Nashville.
Yep.
So, calm down a little bit. Now, you mentioned the bullpen. Nick Mears came in, 1-2-3. Grant Anderson came in, 1-2-3. His next inning, he gave up a 1-out single, and then Koenig allowed a 2-out single on the infield, and then a 2-out home run to J. Ram and a walk after that. And that's where, looking at Jared Koenig, his last 2 1/3 innings that he's pitched over the last 4 games that he's appeared in, he's allowed 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 inherited runner to score with 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. So you got to get him some low pressure outings, in my opinion.
Yep.
Not that today was a high pressure outing, but pitching in the 7th inning in a game where you've lost 2 out of the first 3 already.
Mm-hmm.
Let him pitch in the 5th. Let him pitch in the 6th, and move Mears and Grant Anderson back.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, we need a lefty that's good. So, hopefully Aaron Ashby is ready to go soon.
Yeah,
because he could fill in that role as well.
Yeah,
he was really good in the bullpen last year. Now, lots of good stuff here. So the Brewers today moved to 18-5 when they score 4+ runs. they move to 19-8 when they score first. So if the Brewers score first and they score 4 or more runs, they're winning like 80% of those games. That's really all they got to do. Score first, score 4. Bang. You're almost guaranteed to win.
All right.
Now, William Contreras, this was his first multi-hit game of May. He was 3 for 4 with a walk. Jake Bauers is batting up to 288. His average is up to 288. His batting average is up 53 points in the last 9 games. He has 9 hits, 7 RBI, and 3 doubles in that stretch. Not as hot as Rhys Hoskins, though. Rhys Hoskins, like you said, is up to 292. He's up 34 points in his last 9 games. In his last 9 games, he has 13 hits, 10 RBI, and 5 doubles. Today, he had his first 4-hit game as a Brewer. He had his first 5 RBI game as a Brewer. And they all came in the 6th inning or later.
Wow.
He is also the second Brewer in franchise history to have 5 times on base, make no outs, hit a home run, and have 5 RBI. The only other one was Ted Simmons in 1983.
Jesus, we weren't even alive to see the last one.
Not even close.
Jesus.
So Rhys Hoskins, he is hitting very well. His value, I looked it up so far in his first 40 games, he has produced about $5 million of value. You multiply 40 games times 4 to get 160. He's on pace to have about a $20 million value season.
We're getting a bargain. We're getting a fucking bargain, dude.
Yeah. I mean, cancels out when you bring it up last year, but if he hits 30 dingers this year, he's going to be worth probably closer to 30 on a guy that we're paying 18 this year.
Love
So
it.
we're getting value on Rhys Hoskins this year.
Like it.
Not to mention the effects that he has in the clubhouse.
True.
So the Brewers, again, next week we're going to have the same amount of coverage. We're going to have 6 games. The Brewers are off tomorrow. Then they have 3 against the Twins and 3 against the Orioles, all at home. So those are the games that we're going to have next week. Is there anything else you want to say on the Brewers?
I'm a little salty that Woody's not going to be pitching on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because that's the cribbage board day. You understand, and they're on Fox. So, I mean, can you understand what the vibes would have been on Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, I agree with you, but his first outing with the Brewers, when he's back to the major league, he's going to pitch like 4 innings.
No, I know, but still, it would have been like exciting, going to the game, and I'm not going to the game, but, if anybody wants to go to the game and, give me one of the cribbage boards, I wouldn't be sad, but just saying. Or if somebody wanted to give my boy, the Jackson Churio bobblehead, because Tyler's a big Star Wars fan. I mean,
gladly accepting Jedi Jackson bobblehead.
He wouldn't be sad. Just saying. But big series against the Twins here. Let's get some home cooking here. Let's take.
Andrew asked for sausage race predictions for next week. I haven't done my research. I haven't seen who's got the highest win percentage so far, and I also don't know when they do the half sausages, half little sausages races. So I haven't gotten my sausage race statistics to be able to give you good predictions.
I just always go Italian or chorizo. Those are my 2.
And if you're betting on the sausage races, you have a problem, call the 1-800 number.
Yeah. Or unless you're doing like, $1. I mean, then it's okay. But like,
if you're betting hot dogs, then they might even put you on the Jumbotron.
For real.
All right. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, so we're going to have some fun. Now, we're doing this as kind of an icebreaker as for what our Milwaukee Bucks offseason coverage looks like. This is going to be part 1 of 4. Andrew said he feels attacked. That's what you get for betting on sausage races. $1 every game on hot dog. See, now if you lose every one of them, that's $80.
Yeah, some people can swing $80.
So this is part 1 of 4 of our Milwaukee Bucks offseason coverage. Today, we are doing Giannis isn't getting traded, but conversations. So we're going to put the graphics on here. We're going to show what they look like. Next week, we're going to go through the financial aspects of it, the draft picks. The following week, we're going to go through what our staff construction and roster construction ideals would look like. And then the following week, we are going to give coaching candidates for coaches we'd like to see added to the staff. and then players and transactions we would like to see happen.
Yep.
So today we're starting it off kind of light with Giannis isn't getting traded, but do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You pick. I don't really care.
All right, we're gonna. You know what we're gonna do then? We're gonna start with the one that isn't on either of our lists, and we're gonna start with the Dallas Mavericks. Now, if the Mavericks call an offer for you, Cooper Flagg, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, the Lakers 2029 first-round pick, and their 2031 first-round pick, would you trade Giannis to the Mavericks?
No.
No, I agree. If they had like 4 more first-round picks, maybe.
I understand you're getting the number 1 overall pick in Cooper Flagg, and you're replacing Giannis' size by getting Gafford and Lively, but we don't have a point guard, so we don't have somebody to handle the ball and be the playmaker in that situation. People don't understand that we're losing Giannis's playmaking on top of this.
Right.
His playmaking, his defense, his leadership. Like, we're losing a lot of shit that people are not taking into consideration. They just see a tall guy that dunks the ball.
Yeah. Andrew, like I said, this whole thing starts with Giannis isn't getting traded.
I want everybody to understand that we do not think that trading Giannis is a good idea.
It's not.
It is a bad idea.
It's
do not do it. Do not do it.
Now, we're gonna throw some of these out there. Jake and I each have 7, and I'm gonna use the Spurs are on my list. We each picked. This is the type of outlandish shit that we're gonna be asking for if people are calling about Giannis. It's not gonna be some bullshit where they give us 2 expiring contracts and 3 first-round picks, and they're like, "Oh, it works on the trade simulator." That they would do that. Oh yeah, no. Yep. This is going to be insanely lopsided in the Bucks' favor, and I love this example because I'm going to be John Horst in this scenario, where if the Spurs are calling about Giannis, if the conversation does not start with Victor Wembanyama, I'm hanging up the phone.
I agree.
Now, I know already that people are going to be like, Victor Wembanyama is like the greatest prospect in the history of the league. I understand that. But what has he done? If I'm John Horst, I'm asking you this question. What has Victor Wembanyama done in his 2 years in the league? He's won Rookie of the Year and had a season cut short by a blood clot.
I mean, that's the harsh truth that they have to ask themselves.
All of these questions are going to be about young players and picks.
Yeah.
None of that shit is proven.
Yeah.
It is all based on potential. So you were offering me 2 Rookie of the Years. I'm still asking for 2 more first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, and I am still saying no to this deal. I don't care that Victor Wembanyama has GOAT potential. I don't care. Giannis is a top 3 player today.
Also, Giannis also has GOAT potential.
He does. And the conversation here is going to be centered around all of these picks are hopefully to get you a player who is as good as Giannis.
Yep.
You already have Giannis.
Yep.
Your first-round picks to me don't mean shit because they don't guarantee you anything.
Agreed.
Neither do Stephon Castle or Victor Wembanyama. Yes, they both won Rookie of the Year. They're off to great starts to their career. But they have not done shit in the NBA yet. That is what John Horst is going to be saying. John Horst isn't going to be like, oh, yeah, Victor Wembanyama could be great. He could. He could also have to be retiring next year because he has a blood clot in his other arm.
Yeah.
I'm bringing that up if I'm John Horst.
You would be absolutely correct to do so.
And I'm still saying no to this.
I would too.
And people would be like, oh my God, you would say no to Wembanyama, Castle, and 4 picks for Giannis?
Yeah, because I live in the real world, not on fucking Xbox.
And I live in 2025, not 2035.
Yep.
Andrew said the 2025 class is trash. I don't care about second-round picks. Second-round picks, they're sweeteners, like basically things you're going to flip for other things later on.
I think the 2025 class has some hidden gems. Like, people are not talking about a guy, and I know he's from Wisconsin, and I'm sounding like a homer, but Antetokounmpo can fucking hoop, dude. And he's going to be like the 9th or 10th pick, dude.
Yeah, that's where I'm seeing.
The center from Duke is also like, he's going to have to obviously develop, but he's going to be a monster, dude.
In a scenario where Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper are going 2 and 3, like, I'm not super excited about the draft class either, Andrew.
I mean, they have a couple guys who are going to be a little bit better than projected. I don't think it's going to be like an all-time draft class, but it's not trash in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you have a team from your list that you want to throw out there?
Let's just start. I'll just start from where I started from. I started with the Nuggets.
All right. Walk me through it.
So I want people to understand this. Like Tyler said, we're going to be lopsided towards the Bucks. And that's how John Horst is going to try to do this, because I want people to understand we have what you want.
Yeah.
We have Giannis. We don't have to give him to you.
Yeah.
He's ours.
Yep.
So in this scenario, and I don't mean to talk about my man PC like this, but I dumped PC in a lot of these trades because he's making $9 million. He made the money work for a lot of these trades. I love Pat Connaughton. I hope he stays a Buck for the rest of his career as well as Giannis. But I didn't add any picks to this because I wanted to, stay on brand. And we've said a million times that the best player in the world is either Jokic or Giannis. Yep. So I felt like that's kind of a wash in that situation. And then with adding Pat Connaughton, the Bucks have a need to get younger and more athletic. What way to do that than to get Peyton Watson, a guy who's a lanky, long defender type, can hit some corner threes. He's made some big momentum threes in the playoffs this year. And Christian Braun had a good year. He's the leak-out king this year. He's very good in fast break. He's a very athletic guy. He can go to the rim. He can also shoot some threes. So, I mean, in this scenario, the Bucks end up getting better. We do lose Giannis, but, you're giving me one of the 2 best players in the world next to the other 2 best players in the world. We get a dump Pat Connaughton's contract so the fan base can shut the hell up, and we get younger and more athletic. Makes sense to me.
And again, we're going to keep having this conversation. Obviously, Giannis is not getting traded, but these trades, we are going to continue to emphasize this. The Bucks are not trading Giannis for a bunch of first-round picks and a couple throw-in players.
Yeah, dude, I can't tell you how many dumbass trades I've seen online, dude.
Yeah, just making the salary work doesn't mean the trades are getting accepted. And the picks, they don't mean anything because they aren't anything until the players are drafted and developed. Agreed. And the thing is, if you think John Horst sucks at drafting because you don't like AJ Johnson and Marjon Beauchamp, why are you wanting to put a bunch of first-round picks in his hands anyways?
Ooh, I don't think people are going to like that.
I don't give a shit. So, here we go. Next one that I have is the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
The Warriors, they have a bunch of picks. Now, they also have Jonathan Kuminga, who is kind of a similar play style to Kyle Kuzma. So, in this scenario, if the Bucks were to trade Giannis to the Warriors, which has been a popular destination for media to want him to go to, the Bucks get Quentin Post. I like his potential as a floor spacing big man. Jonathan Kuminga, we get Brandon Podziemski, bring the Wisconsin guy home, and to give us our pest point guard, because I do think the Bucks need a foil to TJ McConnell and Peyton Pritchard. They need a pest point guard like that. I think Kevin Porter Jr. has the potential for it, but he's on a player option. If he declines it, he's a free agent. Brandon Podziemski, that would fill that role. Yep. Then 3 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. Now, these pick swaps, I have in a bunch of mine because it gives the opportunity that, say, if Curry retires or somebody gets hurt, like the Bucks can then swap picks and potentially move up. Now, that said, the answer is still no.
Yeah.
3 first-round picks, 3 players, and 2 swaps, I still say no.
I would say no too. I mean, that's a lot of picks, but
it's not enough picks.
You're not getting a dominant player in this trade. So no.
In a world where Mikal Bridges, who we love, went for 5 first-round picks, and Paul George went for 4 first-round picks and an MVP, who wasn't an MVP yet, but we knew Shea was going to be good.
Yeah.
We didn't know he was going to be an MVP, but he had all-star written all over him.
He sure did.
and 4 first-round picks, Giannis is going to go for half of your team and all of your picks.
Should I bring up the comment that KD wrote yesterday?
You sure should.
So somebody asked Kevin Durant yesterday, "Hey KD, blah blah blah." I'm paraphrasing here. What's it gonna take to trade for Giannis? And he said, "For your starting 5 and all your future first round picks." And I was like,
he said 4 of your 5 starters and 6 picks.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yep, that sounds about right." And yep. I'm gonna be honest with you, people can question KD's character all they want. There's no doubt that the guy knows ball,
dude. Yeah,
guy clearly knows basketball. So
Andrew said most of the picks are likely to turn out to be terrible. It's not even that they're likely to turn out to be terrible. It's that the draft, regardless of what sport you're in, is a crapshoot.
Yep.
There's no science to being good at drafting. Some teams are better at it than others, but nobody has a 100% hit rate on their draft picks.
Well, then you go to basketball where they do the lottery with their picks. So even if you're getting first-round picks and you're getting a team that has, the third highest chance to get the number 1 pick, they can end up being 6th or 7th. That's just the way it works, and that would be shitty.
Yeah.
So
and
no.
Some of the picks too that you're going to try trading for, they're going to be protected like 1 through 5.
Yeah.
So if you have a lottery team that's projected to get the 8th pick and they get Dallas Maverick lucky and get number 1, you get nothing.
Yep.
There's teams that are supposed to be getting first-round picks this year. The team that was, I think it's the Heat, were supposed to get Philadelphia's first-round pick this year, and they don't because Philadelphia got a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
So there's some things that had to be switched around with some of the picks that are out there. But Jake has a very interesting idea with the Lakers.
Go ahead. So, first thing I took is I said, well, if I'm giving you a star, I need a star. So, give me Luka. Also, the Bucks have needed a POA defender on the wing. Give me Jared Vanderbilt. He's being wasted away there in LA anyways. We need another sniper. I'll take Dalton Knecht. I'll take that 2031 first-round pick because you're going to be freaking terrible at that point. Also, I would like Vanessa Bryant because, let's just be completely honest here. And Jessica Alba, because I think in a few years we're going to bring Jordan Poole back, and we all know what happens with Jordan Poole when he sees a couple of baddies on the sideline. So, I'm game. And then I want all of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's stats and titles to belong to the Milwaukee Bucks. And then you know what? At that point, I'm still going to say no.
This is electric. This is awesome. That's good stuff. That's good content right there.
I was giggling while I wrote down Jessica Alba. I was like, Tyler's going to laugh at this.
Moving on, like I mentioned, the Heat. Everybody's like, oh, Bam Adebayo and Giannis have the same agent. Like, so what?
Yeah.
But if the Heat are calling and they're trying to get Giannis, I'm asking for Bam Adebayo and Khalil Ware. He was very, very, very high on our lists for guys that can play defense and space the floor.
Yep.
He was like our number 1 prospect in our rankings when we did draft stuff last year. Pelle Larsson was a shooter that I really liked, getting 3 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. And again, I still say no to this deal. Andrew said throw in removing Jerry West from the logo and replacing it with Big Dog, and I'm sold on Jake's idea.
I'm in, dude.
But if the Heat call and offer this, I'm still saying no. Because like you said with the first deal that I put out there with the Spurs, like the Bucks lose a lot of playmaking.
Yep.
It's going to be very, very hard, even thinking on the outlandish side of what teams could actually offer the Bucks, that it's still not enough. I think that there's very, very few options out there where I would actually consider it. So we are, we're doing this and we're having some fun with it, but there's very few offers that I would even consider before just saying, no, not doing it.
Yep.
So Jake's next one is the Knicks.
Yeah. So In this situation, we're getting a ball handler, a guy who also won Clutch Player of the Year in Jalen Brunson, and he's on an absolute burner right now. He might lead the Knicks to their first title in 50 years this year, with the way things are shaping up right now. If they go against the Timberwolves, the Knicks are going to probably sweep them, to be completely honest with you. I don't think the Timberwolves are that good. Karl Anthony Towns, again, you got to replace size. So you get size, you get outside shooting.
I was this close to putting zesty Anthony Towns. Andrew said Cat's too sassy for me.
Dude, he's got game though, dude. I mean,
he is. He's really good at basketball.
He's a super talented guy. I mean, he got called for a bullshit elbow to the face the other day, and it was like, dude, that was a disgusting post move. He literally just swung his elbow and got a layup. Like, people always cry about 90s basketball, and then the rest fucking call that shit. I was pissed for the Knicks fans.
Andrew, I don't think the Pacers are beating
the Pacers are not beating the Knicks. The Pacers, you gotta run back on defense, but once the Knicks get their hands on them with the physicality, the Knicks are gonna fucking bully the shit out of them.
Mikal Bridges is a stud.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely lock down Halliburton. Josh Hart, you need a guy who's a hustle guy, can hit some big time threes. He just does everything.
He does everything.
Akil Huckporty was just a throw-in for Chris Livingston to make the money work. And then I'm taking a bunch of picks, 26, 28, 2030 first-rounders. 2026 is Milwaukee. 2027 is Houston second-rounder. And 27 Knicks second-rounder. So I'm getting a ton of picks out of this. I'm getting a good ball handler. I'm replacing size and shooting because Brook Lopez is probably gone. And if we trade Giannis, we're going to be a little bit smaller on that end. We do have bird rights for Sims, so he would probably be the guy you put next to Karl Anthony Towns in this situation, but I still say no.
Andrew, just throwing this out there, the Bucks beat the Pacers 3 out of 4 in the regular season.
Yep.
So, Okay. Out of any offer, the Thunder is probably the closest one that I would actually consider.
Yep.
And again, I'm still asking for what people will probably say is an astronomical amount of stuff, and I don't care. The Thunder were the team that I was referring to earlier also about they were supposed to get Philadelphia's first-round pick, but because it was top 8 protected, they don't get it. They just don't get it. So they get nothing.
Yep.
Now, the conversation with the Thunder, the conversation that's going to be had on Twitter and people making trade machine ideas is going to be the Jalen Williams that is not an all-star. It's going to be the other Jalen Williams. And then it's going to be a ton of first-round picks. And it's going to be like Nikola Topic. That's what people are going to say. They're going to be like, well, we'll give you these 2 young guys and a ton of picks.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that. I want players, good players, and all of your picks. So in a scenario where the Thunder are calling the Bucks, I'm asking for the all-star Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren to start.
Yeah, that's got to be the start, honestly.
Andrew said Chris Bouchard gave us Shea and his idea.
What the
shit?
Fuck?
Like if we weren't going to have to hold on to Dame next year, interesting. But the Thunder have the most amount of picks to give because of the deals that they made, mainly the Paul George deal.
Yeah.
So we get the Miami first-round pick this year, which is pick 15. So we have Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and then the 15th pick to start building around. Then we get the Thunder's 2026 first-round pick. We get Dallas's first-round pick in 2027, which could be an awful pick. So that could be a nice pick because Dallas is trying to win now. So 2 years from now, they might be really bad.
I mean, Davis and Kyrie might be off that team at that time.
Yeah. In 2028, the Thunder have a pick swap with Dallas. I want the rights to be able to swap with Dallas because, again, 3 years from now, they might be in trouble. Then in 2028, we get our own 2028 second-round pick back. We get the 2029 second-round pick back from the Hawks, who I think could be bad 4 years from now. And then a second-round pick swap that can go either from New Orleans or Orlando. New Orleans is kind of really in a not great spot. They just traded Brandon Ingram, and right now they're left with Zion and the shell of DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
So they're in a rough spot. So that second round pick swap from potentially the Pelicans could be like the 34th overall pick.
True.
And if I'm being honest with you, I probably still say no to this deal. But out of all 7 that I went through, this is probably the closest one.
Yeah.
And anybody from the Thunder is probably going to be like, no, we don't want to deal Chet and Jalen. Okay, then this conversation's over.
Yep, then you're not getting Giannis. Sorry. Also, I don't think Shea and Giannis are a good match, by the way. Seeing where Shea likes to shoot from, he likes to get into the paint, and then he likes to take that little baseline jumper. Where the fuck does Giannis float around, dude?
Yeah, that's why
literally the same spots
have such a better potential pairing.
Yeah.
If Shea was a better 3-point shooter, maybe.
Yeah, and he is a score first guy too. So and Giannis,
it really just goes to show that media wants Giannis out of Milwaukee more so than they want him fitting somewhere.
Yep.
Because we're going to have a conversation about another team when we get to one of yours, and it's going to be the same thing. But you have both LA teams, and this one is the Clippers.
Yeah, so in this situation, we get rid of Kyle Kuzma and Pat Connaughton, so the Bucks fan base is going to be like, oh my God, we got rid of Kuzma and Connaughton, but we had to get rid of Giannis to do it. And it's just like, yeah, well, this is what you wanted, you son of bitches. In this situation, you get Kawhi. Now, obviously, Kawhi doesn't play a lot of games in the regular season, but you hope that they, especially with how the East looks, you can get Kawhi Leonard and be like, if we can manage to get a top 4 seed and Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy for the playoffs, we're going
to carry us to a title. We've seen it happen 6 years ago.
Zubac replacing Size and Bogdan Bogdanovic. I don't know if people are seeing a theme here, but I really like getting shooters and getting size. We get to 2025 first. It's number 30. 2030 first round pick swap. 2031 first round pick, and then 2027 second round. I did give up our second rounder in this trade because we got pick number 47, and I felt like giving them a pick for the 3 first rounders, and Kawhi made sense to me. But
it basically swaps our picks this year. The Bucks go from the mid second to the end of the first.
Yeah, so it's still a no. Obviously, this one and my Celtics one, because I have the Celtics yeah, I know. I didn't even want to trade for Harden.
That's not happening.
I looked at that and I was like, no fucking chance.
And the thing with this is, if the Clippers had maybe like 3 more first rounders to give us,
yeah,
but they don't because I traded for Paul George.
Yep. So this one's just a clear no to me as well.
Okay, so moving to my next one is the Charlotte Hornets. Now, they have some things to offer. And I am a Brandon Miller truther. I think he's got potential to be really, really good. Mm-hmm. I know Jake has asked for the Bucks to trade for Miles Bridges because he's an athletic guy. He's an energy guy. Yes, he's got some off-the-court potential issues. It's very similar to Kevin Porter Jr. type stuff.
Yep.
Andrew said the Clippers would have the most awkward locker room.
Dude, don't you think they already do? You see who their owner is?
Yeah, that's true. And then we get the number 4 pick from them this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2027, 2029, 2031 first-round picks, and the right to swap with them in 2026 and 2028 because they would basically be LaMelo and Giannis if the Hornets were trying to call for Giannis. And then a couple more second-rounders, one of them coming from the Pelicans, who, like I said, not in a great place, so that pick could be in the upper 30s.
No, dude, the Pelicans got handed the first overall pick when Zion was in the draft. I mean, they had a chance to be good, and they just really fucked it up. Honestly.
And they made some bad trades.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so yeah, and I'm still saying no to this deal.
Yep.
Just not enough proven, and first-round picks, like we said, they're crapshoots.
They sure are.
Andrew said it's better than when Starling won the Clippers. Well, really just fighting for the bottom. So on to the other New York team.
Yeah. So you get Nick Claxton, 25 years old, lots of potential, super athletic guy. I actually think Nick Claxton, and when I was doing this trade, I was like, dude, Nick Claxton with Kevin Porter Jr. would fucking cook, dude. They would be fucking good together, in my opinion. Because Nick Claxton can catch everything around the rim, and he blocks a lot of shots.
I don't hate the idea of having Kuzma with those two.
Jay, you're not wrong.
I mean, you're super athletic at that point.
Yeah. Getting Cam Johnson makes a lot of sense. He's got really good size and a really good jump shot.
Yeah, I like Cam Johnson a lot. Someone's messed up by trading him.
Yeah. Dude, I would love Cam Johnson. Holy shit. 2025, number 8 pick. 2025, Milwaukee, number 19. And then 26, 27, we get the Knicks pick in 27, Phillies pick in 2027, because Philly's going to be freaking horrible in 2 years. Tyrese Maxey's going to be gone. They're going to have to just be stuck with Embiid, and they're going to be overpaying for Paul George at that point still. So it's good. They're in a really bad spot.
Yeah, they are where people think the Bucks are.
Yeah, they're probably in the worst spot in the league.
They got the number 3 pick, so they're going to get somebody young and good, but again, if it's Ace Bailey, okay.
Yeah.
Right now, I would say they should move Embiid before they move Maxey.
Nobody's taking Embiid.
Maxey is better for their future than Embiid is.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Even when Embiid's healthy, the dude hasn't made it past the second round. Stop putting him in the same conversation as Giannis. It's a one-way ticket to pissing me off.
Jesus Christ. We also get their 2028 pick, 2029 pick from the Knicks, which at that point the Knicks are going to be horrible because they're going to run all these guys into the ground and be fucking terrible for 10 years after that. And then we also get the Knicks 2031 New York Knicks pick. So, I mean, you're getting a lot of picks. You're getting young athletic guys. Cam Johnson can shoot the hell out of the basketball. This is the one for me, just like how you felt about the Thunder, where I was looking at it and I was just like, huh?
So I'm looking at this. You get 2 players that'll be starters for you. You get 2 picks in this current draft, and then you have 6 more first-round picks. The way that I see that is if you can get, that big of a group of picks, that then you are just going to end up flipping them. So I see this as, 2 years from now, if the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards are not in a great spot and you call them and say, hey, we'll give you all the picks that we got for Giannis, and do that with the Timberwolves, maybe you throw them a bunch of first-round picks for Anthony Edwards. But if the Timberwolves called you today and they're like, we want to trade for Giannis, the first name that I'm bringing up is Anthony Edwards. Keep Julius Randle the fuck away from my team. I do not want him. I will take Naz Reid, though. But if the Timberwolves are calling about Giannis, I'm asking for Anthony Edwards. The Timberwolves seem to think that there's not a such thing as too many 7-footers on the floor. So I'm asking for Anthony Edwards and Naz Reid, and then 2 first-round picks, one of them being the Spurs the 2030 first-round pick, because that's really all they have to offer. Yeah. And I'm still saying no to this deal. Like, yes, Anthony Edwards is great, but I would still rather have Giannis.
Yep.
Okay. Moving right along. On to your second last one.
So, this one's actually a little bit interesting because the Celtics are going to be selling people.
Yes. Soon.
They're not, soon. Now, they are a team that's going to want to continue to be dominant. The thought of Giannis in a Celtics jersey makes me want to vomit in my mouth and then swallow it again, because that's how I feel every time I saw him with that jersey on. So, Giannis and Pat Connaughton for Drew Holiday. We bring Drew Holiday home. We got our point guard for next year because Dame's going to be out for most of the year next year. Drew and Dame together would be fucking filthy, in my opinion. They're both super smart basketball players. Drew can just play the defense, and Dame can just take over the offense, save some energy. Derek White, also a really good defender, and a disgustingly good three-point shooter.
Yep.
You get 2 point guards in this deal because you get Peyton Pritchard, so now you have the 6th man of the year, along with our 6th man of the year, Bobby Portis accepting his player option to stay in Milwaukee. So now you got Drew, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. I mean, this one's pretty interesting. You get 2026, 2028, 2028 Spurs, and 2030 first-round picks. So you're getting 4 picks. You're getting 3 guys who are champions. Drew Holiday just won Teammate of the Year again. Derek White is a former 6th man of the year, I believe, right? He won 6th man of the year one time.
Maybe with the Spurs.
Yeah. But he's just a really good player, two-way player. Peyton Pritchard is a dog. I mean, he just kills everybody. He shoots a ton of threes. So I mean, this is not happening. I would say no, but it is an interesting trade for the Bucks. I'm just saying.
I would say no to this deal strictly because in any scenario where we're trading Giannis is to get younger.
Yeah.
And Andrew just said the same thing. Edwards is interesting only because he's so young. I think he's 25. He makes us relevant for the next decade if he would stay. And that's going to be the conversation. If the Bucks trade Giannis for Anthony Edwards, and in 2 years it's going to be like, oh my God, the Bucks didn't win a championship in the first 2 years with Anthony Edwards. Is he going to want out?
Yep.
That's why this is ridiculous. That's why we're doing this, because it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Now, if I were Jake and the Celtics were calling me, I'm taking Holiday and White out, and I'm putting in Jaylen Brown.
The only reason that I added Drew Holiday and Derek White is because you get three-point shooting and you get defense, whereas Jaylen Brown still literally has no fucking left hand, dude. Yeah. He literally has no left hand.
And I'm still asking for him over White and Holiday because I want to be younger.
That's fair. I understand that point of view.
And you want to be getting the best player in the deal, which in all of these scenarios is Giannis. But I want to be also importantly getting a player that is as close to Giannis as possible.
Yeah.
That's where, the Anthony Edwards, that's why I bring him up. That's why I bring up Wemby. That's why I bring up Chet Holmgren. Like, those are the only deals that I'm even remotely considering are players who, at least on some way, shape, or form, have potential that could meet Giannis's.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
So
I spent for more player value, I guess, than
right. And that's where I get to my last one with the Grizzlies. If the Grizzlies call you and ask you about Giannis, I'm starting with Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J, a former Defensive Player of the Year, player that I hold in very high esteem. I love Jaren Jackson Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Clark was a guy that I wanted last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just an athletic power forward. Essentially what we got in Jericho Sims, a similar role.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2026, 2028, 2030 first-round picks, 2027, 2029, 2031 first-round pick swaps because, again, if your team's not going to be great, I want to be able to take your pick and give you mine. And then, again, Atlanta, I do not hold their future in high regard, and I will take their 2027 second-round pick because I can believe it can be in the 30s, which is just after the first round.
Yeah.
I still say no to this scenario like I do to all of the rest of them. Like I said, the 7 that I brought up, the Thunder is the one that I only remotely consider, and I probably still say no because Giannis is the best player in all of these scenarios.
Yeah.
So if the Bucks are going to trade Giannis before he even says that he wants to leave, it's going to have to be a deal like that Thunder one where we get 5 first-round picks, an all-star, and a high potential player in addition to 5 or 6 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Because, again, Mikal Bridges went for 5 first-rounders. Paul George went for 4 first-rounders and a future MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis is better than Mikal Bridges and Paul George put together.
Yeah, agreed.
So, that said, Jake has one last one that involves another team that is being a popular one to be brought up for could Giannis be traded to this team? So, this is Jake's last one.
So, I have the Rockets. So, let's think here out loud. So, fans, they were number 2 seed. They had some growing pains in the playoffs. They found out what real basketball was like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are people on the internet that are like, "Ooh, they got a lot of young talent. They got a lot of picks." Guess what the fuck you have to give up to get a guy like Giannis? A lot of young talent and a lot of fucking picks.
Yep.
So all that young talent that got their tail kicked in a little bit, the Western Conference is fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah,
it is bonkers how good the Western Conference is compared to the East, especially with Dame and now Tatum going down with Achilles. Next year is going to be wide open. I mean, the Pistons might be the 3rd best team in the East next year if Giannis leaves. I'm so serious right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, because the Celtics are literally going to be selling, and then the Knicks are just running their guys in the ground. They might literally everybody in New York might sell their soul just to get one title.
Yeah, I'll say they might win a championship this year, but Thibodeau's going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Andrew doesn't want any sassy guys on the Bucks.
How is he sassy, dude? He's dating a baddie. What are you talking about, my boy? Anyways, Jalen Green, I like Jalen Green. He's super athletic. He's got a little bit of seasoning that has to be done yet, but he's got freaking crazy potential. Amen Thompson is literally one of my favorite players not on the Bucks. I love that guy.
He's the first player that you ask for if Houston calls.
He can handle the ball. He plays defense on every position. He runs the floor. He finishes at the rim. He does everything. I love Amen Thompson. I am so jealous that the Rockets have him.
Yeah.
I get Amen Thompson, I get Jalen Green, and I get Jabari Smith Jr. There's all your young talent. Give it to us. We'll take it. We'll be good for the next 15 years. All those guys are lottery picks, and they're all good. Yeah. Jabari Smith Jr. has a lot of seasoning to get done, but he'll get there. He's got a nice touch from outside. He's got good form. He'll get there.
Yeah. Not to mention he's 6'10" and athletic.
You're right. So you're replacing size, athleticism there. Jalen Green can handle the ball. Obviously, Amen Thompson can handle the ball. Get Pat Connaughton's contract off the books, send him to Houston with Giannis. You get a 2031 pick swap because, in my opinion, they're going to be worse than us in 2031, so they're probably just going to keep their first-round pick in the first place. And we get 25, 27, and 29 first-round picks. So, I mean, we're getting first-round picks on top of getting all these guys who are drafted in the lottery. That's a good trade for the Bucks for the future, not for next year.
Yeah.
But you do get to redo all your money in your books if you make this trade for the Bucks. So,
right.
You want Sengun over Green?
Sengun over Green. If we ask for Sengun, we're not getting Amen Thompson.
Andrew, you need somebody to handle the damn ball. Your center's not bringing the goddamn ball up.
And the thing is, the Rockets aren't going to want to do this with giving us either Amen Thompson or Sengun.
Yeah.
And that's where I get to the point where I don't care if Houston offers you 6 first-round picks. Jalen Green is not a headliner for a package that nets Giannis.
No, Amen Thompson is where the conversation starts. I 100% agree with you.
Amen Thompson is absolutely going to be in the deal. If I'm even considering trading him.
I know that people are having a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? They saw how Jalen Green looked in the playoffs, and they're kind of like getting a little skittish of it. Dude, LeBron had bad games in the playoffs. He had literally a bad finals, a terrible finals. He got played by JJ Barea. He's still the second best player of all time, no matter who ranks.
This is also like their first year having legit playoff experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So all of these guys are super young. We just talked about it with Jackson Cherry on the Brewers. Like there's going to be some growing pains. Like it's going to happen. The Bucks were championship contenders in 2018 when they started to get good.
Yeah.
They went to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2019, got gentlemen swept. Like, they weren't good right away.
And then you're sending all these guys to a weaker conference where they're not going to play as good of teams, as good of coaches. I mean, dude, that team, the Rockets team, could have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals in the East very easily this year. As the number 2 seed.
If you put the Rockets in the 5 seed and you say Rockets-Pacers, I can see the Rockets winning that series and then being in the spot that the Pacers are in right now.
I'm saying, bro.
Yeah, I could see it. But again, people making Twitter trade ideas and trade machine ideas, Jalen Green is not a headlining player that gets you Giannis.
No.
Plain and simple. If the Bucks are considering trading Giannis to the Rockets, Amen Thompson or Alperen Sengun are going to be in the deal if John Horst is asking you. And if it's Jalen Green, I'm hanging up the phone.
Yep.
He is not a good enough player to be the headlining return piece in a trade for Giannis.
No, and you look, so what you got to think about with Giannis, you have MVP potential, Defensive Player of the Year potential, a guy who carried you to the finals. Amen Thompson, what does he check off? Defensive Player of the Year potential, right? He brings ball handling, so you get some of the playmaking. Jalen Green, he helps you with the athleticism. Same thing with Amen Thompson. The Thompson twins are they literally were created in a lab. Two people should not come out of one person's body and be able to jump 47 inches in the air. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And then Jabari Smith, you replace the size. So, I mean, you gotta be able to, compare and contrast these things side by side, which is why I love how Tyler made these graphics. So everybody give Tyler his props. He did an amazing job on these. But Jalen Green, I agree. I mean, that you're not starting a conversation with me talking about Giannis in Houston with Jalen Green. You better start with Amen Thompson. Oh, okay, I'm listening. Continue going.
Yeah. So I guess out of the 15 teams that we just talked about, the only 2 that I'm even remotely considering are Oklahoma City and Houston.
Yeah.
And you are giving us some of your best players.
Yep.
You're not keeping all of your best players, giving us a couple dudes from your 8 to 10 spot in your rotations and offering us 4 first-round picks.
And the Bucks are going to be like, yeah, that sounds good. We'll take the most important person in our franchise's history, just hand him over.
Yeah. I'll give you Bobby Portis for all the fucking packages that people are making on Twitter.
Fucking A, dude.
You're not getting Giannis for the shit that you're coming up with just because the money works.
Yeah, dude. Freaking Spurs fans are going nuts on Twitter, dude. I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, you're not getting Giannis for Sochan, Vassell, and 3 firsts.
They're like, you don't trade Castle. That would be silly. You're not getting Giannis then, buddy. Move on.
Yeah. I'm saying no for Castle and Wemby. But still.
I would too.
Like I said. This was the first part of our Bucks offseason coverage. Giannis is not getting traded. Plain and simple. We did this as an exercise to show that even in the most lopsided scenarios, we are still not trading the best player in the franchise's history. I don't care about future potential. I don't care about first-round picks. None of that stuff is guaranteed. What's guaranteed is that Giannis is a top 3 player in the NBA right now.
I would also like to tell people, stop listening to ESPN. Stop listening.
Number one, out of anybody you're going to stop listening to, ESPN is number 1.
Stop listening to Fox Sports. Listen to the local beat writers.
Yes.
Eric Name came out with an article. It was terrific.
Yes.
We should share that. Honestly, we should share that on the page so people can have an opportunity.
It's on The Athletic, so it's a paid subscription thing.
Oh, okay.
But what I think I can do is I can take a couple screenshots of it and without sharing the whole article.
Yeah.
But just take a couple screenshots because it's The Athletic writes good stuff. They have good writers.
Yep.
And essentially they Eric Name put out the idea of giving Giannis a gap year, where basically they just say, we understand the team's not going to contend without Dame, but try to win the MVP this year is basically where they're going with it.
Justin, I'm about to say something that I got to apologize to God for. I'm sorry. The Pope can fuck off. How about that? They got Michael Jordan. You had your time.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. Giannis isn't getting traded, even if it's the most lopsided deals that we can come up with. It's still not happening. Despite how badly ESPN wants it to.
Dude, it's disgusting, dude.
And the word twisting, the source twisting, it's all bullshit. It's clickbait. I hate it. It's garbage. It's not good journalism. It's clickbait. We hate that stuff. We can't stand it. Just trying to come up with stories. And the Shams Charania thing, and people like, for the first time, Giannis is considering it. It's like, no, this isn't the first time that you fuckers have reported this stuff.
Seriously.
2019.
Yeah.
You know what? It's the same outlet. It's ESPN, which is sad because ESPN/SportsCenter was the inspiration for our show.
Yeah.
And it's not remotely what it was when we loved it, which is sad.
Man, I guess we really didn't realize how impactful a guy like Stuart Scott may have been in some of those meetings, dude, because it's been fucking downhill since our boy has left. Stuart Scott was a goat, dude. And then they went on and they fired all these other good reporters they used to have, all these, Showtime hosts they used to have. They're getting rid of all the good shows. Everything's just people yelling at each other, and it's just terrible. Yeah. Justin said, and if they're saying now this is the first time he's truly considering it, doesn't that mean all the reporting in the last 5 years was just completely made up? Oh, weird how that works. Nope, that's not what that means. They mean it for real this time on ESPN. This is the for real time. And Jesus Christ, dude. You see some of these people like Nick Wright, friggin' Bill Simmons. I mean,
it is.
Yeah, Stuart Scott. Go.
I have books about the history of ESPN. Like it used to be about covering sports.
Yeah.
And Andrew said that they were doing it with LeBron and New York before Giannis. The thing is that you look at other people who are in similar positions, and it's not the same.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that Embiid should be demanding to leave Philadelphia. Nobody's saying that Jokic should be demanding to leave Denver. Nobody's going to say that Luka and LeBron should demand to leave LA. But all of those teams are underachieving since their championships.
I will
Except
say
Philly, because they haven't won one with Embiid.
I will say, Dan Patrick did bring up that he said LeBron should leave the Lakers this year. He said LeBron's got 1 or 2 years left. They're not winning a championship in the next 2 years. If you're LeBron, you want to maximize the next 2 years, you got to go to a young team where you don't have to handle the ball as much. I 100% agree with that.
I will say we've shared a couple spots that have said it. Charles Barkley's a real one.
Fucking A, dude.
We shared Charles Barkley's comments from TNT that he shared. We shared it on our Facebook page if you want to check that out. Charles Barkley saying that he would respect Giannis for staying in Milwaukee. People were saying that, Charles Barkley, should leave Philly. And he mentioned Dirk Nowitzki, guys that played their entire careers with one team. Giannis has said before that he wants to be one of those guys. Dirk and Tim Duncan are the ones that he brings up when he talks about it.
And
Jalen Rose had Milwaukee, and Giannis is back too. Patrick Beverly.
Jalen Rose is a real one too. I like Jalen Rose. I don't know why they keep taking him off TV. I like Jalen Rose. He's good on TV.
Dwight Howard also on Twitter saying Giannis stay in Milwaukee.
And he was on TNT,
and it wasn't the right choice. So
Pat Bev was just on his podcast talking about it. And Rowan was there, and they Rowan is the co-host on that show. If you never listened to it, it's a pretty good listen. No matter how you feel about Pat Bev, it's a good podcast to listen to. But he said they brought his family over here, and we brought that up too. Like, you don't forget about that kind of human nature kind of shit when they took care of you when you were a baby, dude.
Yeah, and now
Giannis turned into Giannis being in Milwaukee,
and now his family is established here.
Yep,
and you look at the people that are saying that Giannis should leave, and it's fucking Shams Charania and Colin Cowherd.
Colin Cowherd, dude. What a fucking joke, dude.
So,
that guy is a joke.
So Giannis isn't getting traded. Next week, we're going to have some much more in-depth conversations on what the Bucks' future actually looks like, because it's not trading Giannis. It's not happening. If you want to trade Giannis, you're running away from the grind. If you want to do it, it's the best for the Bucks and for Giannis. No, it's not. Trying to win with what you have is what's best for everybody, because that's how winners are made.
Yep.
It's not by lowering the expectations until you feel comfortable with missing them. It takes a long time to be able to build to contend. Running away from it because you don't like how the last couple seasons have ended because of some injury bad luck, it's weakness.
I agree.
All right. Be back with us next week. 6 more Brewers games and some more Bucks conversation. Again, when we get all of these conversations done by the beginning of June, we'll put them all together for a whole comprehensive Bucks off season and some of the things that we would like to see. Until then, see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in and sticking around.
And the Packers schedule comes out tonight. Let's go.